This pizza we're making next is like my favorite pizza. It's just cheese, plain cheese. No other stuff on it. No meat, no vegetables, tomato sauce, and cheese. Hands down, the best pizza on the planet. Basil and basil. All right, chef, let's make a pizza.
Cool.
And what we want to show is you guys at home that do this, like these are the most common like questions we get as we're making pizzas in our classes. Right. These are like the stumbling blocks that people have. So for things that you have to use, and a pizza peel is a must, you're going into a 500-degree oven, onto a 500-degree baking steel or pizza stone, whatever you're using.
Right.
We like steel.
Obviously.
Maybe, but wood. Not a metal peel, but a wood peel. It absorbs some of the moisture, so it's a little bit easier to launch, we find. So before I do anything else, I always will lightly flour, and I use flour and semolina flour on my peel. I lightly dust it, I just brush it around. Those are your ball bearings. Think flour and semolina as your ball bearings. I'm gonna put this aside for now and let that sit, and I'm gonna remove my dough. So I'm gonna put some flour down on my table so I can remove this 400-gram dough ball that we made, that we have in the fridge, and this stuff is awesome. So this is 400 grams. I flour up pretty generously around this dough because it's a wet dough and I don't want it to stick. So I'll flour up both sides. You can see the mass of this, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, this is a lot bigger dough than we usually do or you usually see us working with.
Yeah.
So this is gonna make basically a 16-inch.
Right, we're using our new Pizza Pro, and we've also got our new Pizza Pro peel. You can see the difference in size. It's like a good inch around the perimeter, bigger, 16 inches. So this is a 14-inch peels. All peels at home that you have
Or most likely 14.
are most likely 14 inches. We noticed that as we were making the larger steel that we needed a bigger peel. So we talked to our
Baker's board, yeah.
Baker's board out in Wisconsin. They made this beautiful 16-inch wood peel for us, which is awesome. Now the dough, look at this thing. It's got a lot of flour, so it's not gonna stick. I might pick it up one more time.
This is where you're gonna see like the fermentation come into play too. Like when he starts pressing down on it, you'll see all the bubbles. That's from the 3, 4, 5 days of fermentation.
Right, and look at this. I'm just gonna lightly press, but look at those bubbles. They're just gorgeous. Now, there's a couple of rules of thought on this. Some folks will, go around the rim and create their rim of their pizza. I'm just pressing the whole thing out. I might take these bubbles down a little bit. That's massive, which is really cool. But that's gonna burn. So use your judgment on that, really. I kind of like a little bit of character in there, but sometimes they get to be too crazy. So I'm just lightly pressing down. And you can see this dough, because it's been relaxed, it's been sitting out at room temperature for 2 or 3 hours. Those glutens have relaxed. It's opposite of being cold and stiff.
Basically wants to stay in place when you stretch it. It doesn't want to retract back on itself.
So
right?
I'm gonna, when it gets to be a good size, I'm gonna go ahead and pick this up on the back of my knuckles.
This is where people get afraid, like, oh, I see people on TV do it or see in a movie.
Oh, totally, yeah, they get afraid.
But it's the dough when it's relaxed, like it's so easy to stretch.
I'm not scared.
Gravity.
Gravity is your friend here. So I'm just working around the perimeter like a steering wheel. You can kind of see my hands in reverse here. Just like this. And you can see each time I do this, it's stretching. Look at that. Gravity is your friend, right? And if I place this down, look at this thing. It's massive. That's probably about 12 or 13 inches now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go a little bit bigger, and I might unfortunately lose one of these bubbles because I'm nervous what's gonna happen is they're gonna really burn. When it gets to be about 15 or 16 inches, I'm almost to the size I want. You can see, look at that. And now it's almost probably about 14 inches. I'm gonna go a little bit bigger. Just gotta let gravity do its thing again. Around the edge, and then place it down. On top of my ball bearings. This is gorgeous, by the way.
That's awesome.
Right? And now what I might do is I might pinch the sides a little bit. But before I even do sauce or cheese or anything else, I'm gonna give it a little, what we call a shake. I wanna make sure my ball bearings are working. It's all about ball bearings, right? And it's gonna shrink a little bit, that's okay. I can expand it again, not worried about it. You can see, this dough is gonna have so much character to it. So let this sit for a couple of minutes. Sometimes it's gonna get stuck. And before I do sauce, we gotta take care of that.
Right.
So
too much moisture, it'll get stuck.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. So what we do is we pick up that area, right, under here, and just toss some more flour underneath there. Look at that, boom. Place it back, and now I'm free to roam again.
I think it's silly, but it's gonna save yourself when you hit the oven.
Yeah, do not go near that oven without this thing being loose, because otherwise you're just asking for trouble.
Yeah.
Right?
Not gonna be a fun night.
Not gonna be fun.
Especially if it's your first pizza, you're not thinking to get
The unintentional calzones,
right.
Believe us, right? So for the sauce, I like to live on the edge, just like life, but not go over the edge. Especially with the sauce, because it's so much moisture. You can see I'm bringing it right around to the 1 inch mark, right?
We always tell people in class too when they're making their first pizza, like always less is more. Because you keep piling all this crap on top of it, it'll be too heavy, and then it's not going to give the dough a chance to cook when you're in the oven.
You can see I spilled a little sauce. I'm just going to clean that up before I do anything else. And now, before the cheese goes on here, I'm going to give it a shake again, right? And that's really important. Now my ball bearings are working. It might shrink a little bit. It's going to stretch it out again. Look at that. Still beautiful. Little Parm Reg down.
Would you oregano too?
Yeah, totally oregano. So we got oregano down, Parm Reg down. Now we're gonna cheese it up. Got a little bit of fontina, right? I'm just gonna grate this right on top.
Don't try this at home.
Don't try this at home. So we use a combination of a couple different cheeses because we always have them in the fridge. This is a fontina.
And also what he's doing right now seems simple. Always shred your own cheese, guys.
That's a good point.
Don't buy shredded cheese. It's always coated in like a starch. Browns too quickly, doesn't taste awesome. Look how easy. Everyone's got a box grater or some
box grate
food processor with an attachment on it.
And now I want to pause because I've got a lot of stuff going on here. I want to give this thing a little shake again. It's getting a little heavier. It's got some more moisture. Look at that, my ball bearings are still working. So I'm confident that this thing's going to go into the oven
successfully.
You see good here? So before I even open the oven up, I'm going to give it a little jiggle. See how that's still loose? Really important. Open the oven up. The back of the peel goes to the back of the steel. This is our Pizza Pro steel. And I would just shake. Look at this. Beautiful. Look at that. Boom. Timer. Now, I'm not using the broiler. We're doing a straight bake at 500 degrees, 4 minutes on the timer. After 4 minutes, I'm going to open the oven up. I might give this pizza its first turn, and I might put it on for 2 or 3 more minutes. So about a 6 or 7 minute bake, New York style, in a home oven. It's going to be incredible. Let's take a look. Open this up. Look at that color on that thing. That's just amazing. Let's look at the bottom. You can see the crust. Look at that. Leopard spotting. It's beautiful. My big peel. You don't want to use your fingers. Use some tongs. Slide it underneath that. And now, the beauty. Look at that crust. And that's been about a 6.5 minute bake. The crust underneath is super crispy. And now for the final touches on our finishing pizza is the basil. Just drop it on top. Like, people love basil. And we followed like this guy Lucali in New York City, who's like the master. And this is more or less how he does his finish on most of his pizzas. Might even throw a little olive oil down, but that's it. Isn't that gorgeous? Slice away, devour it, and enjoy. My rocker's actually not big enough for this pizza. Get a bigger one. You hear that crust? That sounds unbelievable. Probably made, 5,000 pizzas now and never gets old. Boom. Amazing. It's better than yesterday.
Think so? Longer a little bit? Like
I think a little bit longer, that 30 seconds extra in the bake. Proud Papa. I'm so proud. Look at this thing. This is it. Like, we make this at home. It's simple. It takes you a little preparation time. Get your dough ready for Tuesday. Get your steel ready. And pizza at home is legendary if you do it right.